Welcome to DucBloke Tuning. Please like and subscribe and leave comments in the comment section.
Welcome back to DucBloke Tuning and Finding the Sweet Spot. Today we're going to focus on not tuning an IEM, but what I use to output or to actually listen to the PEQ settings that I've created. And it's a program or an app that you use in Android called POWERAMP. Many people are familiar with it. There's other apps like Wavelet, but I prefer to use POWERAMP. I think it's very powerful. It is not available for Apple, so don't bother looking, not yet anyway, but it is available for Android. And I actually switched to using an Android phone from my Apple phone because of this app. That's the primary reason. I'm going to show it to you on 4 different devices today, and I'm going to show you how I create the output and then load it into POWERAMP to use those PEQ settings on any given IEM to enhance its sound quality. So first off, let's start with SquigLink. So DucBloke.squid.link, that's the site where I have all of my test results, use it to output my initial PEQ settings that I start with and then load into my FIO K19 to do my final tuning. And I'll show you that as well. But what I do here, and we're going to use the Grand Maestro. So the Grand Maestro is a great IEM. It's fantastic out of the box. I mean, it is top notch, one of the best in the world. But I'd like to tune this just a little bit and given it to several people, and they actually think that the tuning that I've done is better than the standard tuning on the Grand Maestro, slightly. So I'll show you how that's done. First we go to the brands here in SquigLink. We go to Fat Freak, right? And we go to the Grand Maestro, and that is what I measured using my 711 coupler over here. I then take the targets, and remember from previous videos, I have up to 70 different targets that I use when I'm doing the tuning. I take this target, so target 46, and I'll load that, and you can see that it adds just a little bit more bass. The Grand Maestro's got a lot of bass to start with. It pulls down the lower frequencies and the mids between 100 and 200 slightly. I think this makes the vocals sound a little bit further back. I like that in this set. And then it cooled off the Pina gain slightly as well, and then added a little bit more treble in this region where the Grand Maestro has a bit of a dip. Hit Auto EQ on this particular setting on the target, and then this creates your output file. So you've got your frequency, you've got your gain, you've got your Q values, and then you export those. When you export it, I'll open it up here and open this file. You can see here that it usually pulls the preamp down quite a bit. I like to set that back to 0. So I set that to 0.0 and then I save it. But then it gives me all the different filters. And in the Grand Maestro's instance, there are 11 filters on this particular IEM that it created. I take those filters as a file and I load them into POWERAMP. So let's show you how that's loaded into POWERAMP as a first step. So we've got a nice big screen on this Android tablet. I'm going to open up POWERAMP Player. POWERAMP Player has the sideways triangle, like the play button, and then there's also POWERAMP EQ. I'll show you POWERAMP EQ second, but POWERAMP Player plays your local files. So if you've got FLAC music, MP3s, whatever the format is you use, this is the player that you would use to play those, because it takes care of everything. You can load it, the music, album art, create your own, let's say, playlists. It's organized, and then this is the root directory. It's organized, by genre or by artist, by album, and so forth. But right now we're going to talk about the equalizer. So you see the little equalizer symbol here? It's the second one from the left. Click on that, and now you're in the equalizer settings. And what you do here is there's an import button on this little round button with the 3 dots. If you're using a DAP, it's in a different location. So I'm going to open this up on the DAP. Again, hit the equalizer button, which is second from the left. It's this round button with the 3 dots. This is your import. So on here, import, same thing. If I import, I can then go to, let's say, my Google Drive. This is where I store everything out in the cloud. And on the Google Drive, you can see I've got my PEQ preamp set for POWERAMP, and all of these settings alphabetically. I go to Fat Freak, I click on that, and that loads the Fat Freak Grand Maestro settings. Now I got to be really careful that I don't accidentally bump one of these, because you can easily change something on the frequency or gain or the Q value. So if you click again on this button just here, you see the lock, you hit lock, and now you can't adjust these. They're locked in. And you can see all of the settings that were loaded up here are now down in here and ready to use. And if I play music, you can see the little bars going up and down. I don't want to break any copyright, but you can see the bars go up and down. That shows you that player is active and that the EQs are being used. And you can turn this EQ on and off to see exactly how it is with and without. And the way you do that is you go to this EQ button up here, click on that, and you see how the lights went off on all the different frequency settings. Now the EQ is off, and when you play, it will not apply EQ. Turn it back on, lights come back on. If you want to add additional bass boost, let's say, you see how there's a tone button here? You click on tone, and you can move additional bass up and down, and you can see over here that it will actually apply more bass to your tuning. And then later on, if you like to have more bass on everything, you can go into the actual lower frequencies and adjust those individually. But I like to leave that off because the EQs that I send out usually are pretty spot on. Same thing over here on a DAP. You can see here we've got the Fat Freak. You can see all the different frequencies across here. Again, it's got the EQ button here on the left. Turn it on and off. Okay. And when you want to assign an EQ, let's say we wanted to go to the Fei Wan instead. You click on the Fei Wan, you hold your finger down on it, puts a little check mark in that box. Now you've got several different things that you can do. You can delete, you can assign, you can rename it, you can import, you can export, or you can share. I use the top three. So if I want to assign this, let's say I want to assign it as my wired headphone. So every time I plug something in as a wired headphone now, it's going to go to the Fei Wan. And now the Fei Wan EQ is applied to this device. Same thing over here on this DAP, right? Here I've got Fat Freak loaded, right? And you can see here different PEQ settings that I can choose from. This is the one I travel with the most. Also, you see how it says GoPod? I don't know if you can see that. Bring it closer to the camera. You see how this says GoPod just here? This is the Tansio Mirai Shock. And my GoPods have the Tansio Mirai Shock in them. And I can assign my wireless connection. If I click on this again, go here, you can see how there's a Bluetooth setting, but there's a subcategory if you have this device recognized on your Android, where I can click on GoPod, and every time I turn my GoPods on, it will automatically connect through Bluetooth, and it will go and assign it to this EQ setting because that's the one I've chosen. And I can change that as well to any one of the EQ settings if I want to change which IEMs I'm using on my GoPods. Okay, so that's the player. Now let's go over to the equalizers, because there's a separate application that is for streaming music services. I have that loaded onto my phone. I have it loaded onto all these devices actually, but I have it loaded onto this phone. And this is a Google Pixel Fold, right? That's why it's not just a massive phone. It actually collapses down. You can see there's no music down here. There's no local music option, and that's because this is only functioning as the EQ for streaming services. And I have Apple Music, and I run it with the lossless settings in Apple Music. And what I do is, you can see here in settings, right, where it says equalizer, known players. I click on that, and I go to known players here, and you can see that it's active, it's turned on for Apple Music. This will work with Tidal, and it'll work with Qobuz as well. Get out of here, and if I go to Apple Music, which is here, and I hit play, right? That is now playing with this EQ setting for the Tansio Mirai Shock, because this is what I connect to. Let's say when I'm traveling through an airport, I want to go wirelessly, I want to use my GoPods, that's what I use. So you can see how two different programs, one that is for streaming services and one that is for local music, and they both function on the same device. I have them both loaded here. If you look, that's the player, and then this is the equalizer that works with Apple Music. Now the music itself, let's go to the music, show you a couple things. So if I want to go back to the root directory again, it's this 4-dot section over here. Click on that. I can come here and look at the artists. Okay, so here's my artists that are loaded onto here. And you can see that art starts popping up, but in some cases it doesn't. And that's because it's trying to catch up. If I click on Ben Folds 5, let's say, and there's one album loaded here in Ben Folds 5. If I click on this, there's all the songs. We go to Jackson Cannery. You click on this and hold your finger down. It selects it. You have an option here to add album art. This will go out to the web and find the album art for this album. And if you want it to be a high resolution image, you can click on high res. It'll go out and find the highest resolution versions as well. So I can take the Ben Folds 5's album that's correct for this album, apply that there, and now all of the songs in the album itself, if I go back up, are the correct album cover within POWERAMP. So that's a nice feature that they have loaded in here. What it does lose it, I'll be honest, it's a little bit glitchy where it doesn't keep it. It actually goes out to the web while you're using it and finds things. Again, here's an Australian band called The Cruel Sea. I want to find the album art for The Cruel Sea. Click on this and it'll find Three-Legged Dog. I apply that and now I've got that as the album cover. Okay, so nice short video explaining how POWERAMP is used with the outputs from SquigLink. Please like and subscribe, ask questions. If you have an IEM that you would like a PEQ setting made for, or if I have something in my existing library that you think you could use. Let me pull that up, by the way. Let's pull that up. I'm going to show you, I'm going to take you behind the scenes into all the work that's gone into this. And I'm going to show you the best PEQs. I've got them for Wavelet as well as for POWERAMP. But here's my POWERAMP library. And you can see here, if you see something here that you have, let me know and I'll send you the file and you can try it out. And with that, thanks again for supporting the channel. Come back and see me for the next video as well. Like and subscribe. DucBloke out.
Thank you for visiting DucBloke Tuning and finding the sweet spot. Your comments are very much appreciated. I'll try to respond as quickly as possible. Share the PEQ settings with you if you own these particular IEMs or if you plan on purchasing them to maximize your investment. Again, thank you so much for supporting the project.